Massive waves ripping through the crypto market. What's happening with Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, and CZ, CEO of Binance, who just stated that they're going to drop all tokens of FTX and they don't want any part of it. I want to share with you all the events that happened, but I also want to share with you how it doesn't affect me or my sleep at all in this space. So let's just jump right into this, okay? If you haven't been up to date on what's been happening, all right, CZ, who is the CEO of Binance, comes out and says, as part of Binance exit from FTX equity last year, Binance received roughly 2 billion USD equivalent. And due to recent revelations that have come to light, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. And he goes on to explain in this thread that, look, we're doing so in a way that we want to minimize the effect it has on the market, which is definitely going to have an effect on the market, right? Even just the news itself will have that. But goes on to say, hey, look, this is not because we're a competitor to competitor issue. It's more we don't like what FTX has been doing, in particular, Sam Bankman-Fried, who is the CEO of FTX. And it's so funny, right? Because this is like high drama in the space, and understandably so. We've got Celsius issues happening in the past. Luna predated the Celsius issue, and so one domino has fallen from, after another in terms of major entities in the crypto space. And being such a young market, such a young industry, anything that rocks the boat, especially if there's a very large entity or well-known entity, it's going to cause massive ripples throughout the industry, like it or not. And FTX is a large entity, it's massive. And so if something happens there, and the whole thing here is that, is it insolvent? Like, is FTX, or, they're the hedge fund that they actually run by Sam Bankman-Fried, are they going to go bankrupt or become insolvent? And that's really where the concern is for all this stuff. I'm going to kind of go through why or how that's even possible. But just the very fact that the rumor is out that they could be is causing massive issues. And then on top of that, you have one of the most, if not the most well-known CEO out there in CZ, well respected, who has come out publicly and said, we're going to drop all the FTT tokens. It's a problem. All right. So the very beginning of all this actually happened from a CoinDesk article. And they came out and they revealed financials on Alameda Research, which is the entity owned by Sam Bankman-Fried, the very same Sam Bankman-Fried who is CEO of the exchange FTX. All right. So, it came out that, all of the, and I can show it right here. Here's an article about that. But basically what's happening is that you've got almost 15 billion in assets. Let's get me out of the way. Almost 15 billion in assets for almost 15 billion in assets for FTX. But out of that 15 billion, close to 15 billion, around 6 billion is in FTT. Okay. So, and again, this is for Alameda Research, which is the investment, the hedge fund run by Sam Bankman-Fried. So here's the issue. Sam Bankman-Fried runs both Alameda Research and FTX. Now, they put in a CEO at Alameda Research because of the conflict of interest, but in essence, he still runs it, right? But here's the thing. So FTX the exchange has a token of its own, similar to how Binance has their BNB token, Crypto.com has their Chronos token. These exchanges have native tokens tied to them. And the reasoning behind that is, they incentivize people to come on by saying, if you own these, tokens, the more you have, the less trading fees or other perks that you'll get, right? And so here we have Sam Bankman-Fried, we've got Alameda Research, we've got FTX. FTX has its token, FTT. The issue here is that the major the major entity or the major buying power and selling power both are actually only coming from Alameda Research and FTX. Like there are no other major players really in this space. So you've got a token that essentially has no utility and no real demand. And so what ends up happening is this under 6 billion of FTT, it doesn't really mean anything. It's there's no value to it. And so if you look here, um, you've got total liabilities of 8 billion, of which 7.4 billion is loans, okay, with about 292 million worth of FTT tokens. And even here, I think they had about 128 or 130 million in cash. So we've got assets sitting at 15 billion. A third of it is sitting in FTT tokens, which are essentially useless. They've got liabilities at around 8 billion. So they can't cover their liabilities if something were to happen. And so what ends up happening is they have this thing called a flywheel or a flywheel effect. It's basically, an entity creates a token, pumps the token, so the price goes up. And then based on the new value of that token, they put it on their balance sheet as a gain. And now that they have this gain, they go to investors and say, look how much we've gained in this X period of time. And based on that, we're going to either raise capital through selling our equity, or we're going to take a loan out against the value that we've created in our company. And value is in quotations because there's no real value. So this is what ends up happening. So if you have an entity that the only real movement of its token is between two different two different two different projects, two different protocols, two different other entities, but they're all owned essentially by the same person, well, we have an issue here. And if we're using that useless token as a means to take out loans, well, how do you pay back those loans then if that token has no utility? And with the market being what it is, the price point being what it is, what's the issue? But here's the thing also though, CZC's biggest thing here is also the fact that Sam Bankman-Fried has been, lobbying and working with regulators to come up with regulations that truly cripple DeFi but benefit him. And so this is also part of it. Now, BitBoy Crypto has this whole thing against Sam Bankman-Fried. Go check him out and all the content that he has. He comes up with some pretty damning evidence and talks about it in a way that there seems to be even more than what's out there. So you have this in the background where as super intelligent as Sam Bankman-Fried is, as much as he looks like he's providing a lot of value and support to the crypto community, those on the inside seem to claim that he's doing the opposite. It's all out for him, and in the process, crushing the core ethos of crypto and blockchain, which is decentralization and personal ownership, right? So there's that going on, but then you've got this financial aspect saying that they can't even cover their liabilities if something were to happen. Well, now we've just got the whole Crypto Kardashian happening. So this is kind of what's been going on in the background. Now, why I'm not concerned about it is because my investment horizon is 10 years plus. This drama, while it may hurt, and it definitely will hurt if this comes to be true, it doesn't bother me one bit. I don't lose any sleep on it. I've got my two staples, Bitcoin and ETH. And if this ship blows up, this ship meaning FTX, it will crater prices in both Bitcoin and ETH. It's just the nature of the game right now. Great. I will get things at a severe discount. Now, I don't hope for that, mainly because of the people that are involved. The average person like you and I who are invested in, or who, like, I don't have any FTX or FTT tokens, but there are many people who may do, or who may have that. So I don't wish for anybody to be negatively affected by all this stuff that's happening. But if it cleans up the game, I'm all for it because we're here for the long run. And we have to make sure that we get as many bad actors out now as we can. While it may be a black eye, those black eyes do heal and we recover from those. So I want the pain over with now. I don't want this to put a band-aid on it now. And then 2024, 2025, something else happens and now we just kind of drag this on. Rip the band-aid off. Let's just go. Let's get it done now. And let's move forward and make things happen.